yes, you have a ton of stuff going on, a ton of stuff. And I didn't realize that you had kind of stopped doing the green bathroom segments because I feel like well, maybe that was the last one. Of you were with Papa Bear Norton and PT in the bathroom. And when was that one? Was that already a year ago?
It was a year ago, and in fact, I should reshare it because it was a good one. That was the second to the last episode, and that was a year ago.
Oh,
Thanks,
okay.
thanks for the sweet memory. It's good. It was a good one.
I'm a huge fan of. I'm watching old episodes. I guess ones that I didn't get a chance to catch. So
Well,
I
for
guess I.
sure, they live forever in that way, which is good. And I still do. So when I sing my original songs for my songwriter challenge, I still do that in the bathroom. I just don't have guests in the bathroom.
Right on, right on. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Well, progressions happen. I imagine I imagine you have a lot on your plate. Just releasing an album in October.
Yeah.
Um, Say yes. A-
Yes.
a- and and is there significance about releasing it in October? Are you an October baby?
No, I'm a November baby actually, and I have released albums on my birthday once before because sometimes you got to do that. Have you ever done that?
Oh yeah, for sure. Absolutely. That's why
It
I
makes
asked.
yeah. No, it's a total. It makes a lot of sense. The October timing was we started. We recorded it in January, or started recording in January, and I just knew that I wanted to release it in 2025. And we do a big holiday show, and every year, and so I was like, well, I can't do it in November and then turn around and do the holiday show, so it's got to be October. So it was like really about spacing it out. And then I realized that 10/10, October 10th was a Friday, and I like dates like that. So we released it on 10/10, just like our holiday show is going to be this week on 12/12. So, and the last album we put out, Mark, was on 5/5. So
Yes. I love those things too. One of my first singles in well, not the very first single, but once I kind of got my bearings in the project, it one of the singles that I released was 11/12/23.
yeah, one one
You
one
know what I
one.
mean? You know what
Yes,
I mean?
1 1 2 3. Yeah, it's I love things like that. Love that. I
Yeah.
get very excited every day at 1:23 at 12:34. I mean,
It, yeah.
we could
Um
probably do the whole show that way. This whole conversation could go.
we could talk about weird, yes, I love it. Weird idiosyncrasy things in numbers.
Yeah,
Um I'll tell you why. And you probably have a story as to why this means something to you, and I'd like to hear it. I'll tell you mine.
yeah.
Um, a long, a long time ago, my grandma Lorraine,
Hmm.
she told me that whenever anybody in heaven was thinking about me, you could look at your watch and it'd be 3:33 or
Aw.
4:44 or 2:22. And you know what's weird was whether it was because she said it and that's how I remember it, or it's like there's some kind of weird spirituality to the whole thing. It's so true. It's weird.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yay for grandmas. Have
Yeah.
you have you written a song for your grandma Lorraine?
I did write a couple songs for my grandma Lorraine, who unfortunately passed. But
Yeah.
I haven't incorporated um that number scenario. But I probably should. She was a really unique soul for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good.
Yeah.
Grandmas are good. My
So
dogs are gonna get really loud here for 1 second and then it will pass. So just
it's
so
okay.
you've been doing this, you do this the second Tuesday of every month.
I've been doing this the second Tuesday of every month for the past 8 months.
Cool.
Yeah. And will it continue? I'm not sure. But I've enjoyed doing it, even though it seems like it's kind of hard to get members to show up all the time,
Mhm.
you know. And I kind of get I get that too. I get why. I mean, people are busy and doing all kinds of things, but
Yeah.
originally this was the intention of this was mostly to allow people who were super busy to be able to join with members from the comforts of their own home and possibly, strike up, a collaboration conversation or,
Mhm.
the whole, um, I really miss in the organization, I really miss the mix up. We did those couple of mix ups, and they were so fun. And you
Yeah.
got to meet everybody, and everybody did this thing and collaborated, and you did some songs, and everybody's band got shuffled around, and you met some cool people in the organization. And that got to be a thing that couldn't be held anymore, practically,
Sure.
for the org to support it or something. And I just and I felt completely detached. Like ever since COVID happened,
Yeah. I
and
heard about that.
everybody just went,
Yeah.
and live music stopped, and I get it, everything stopped, and I just was like, I lost the venue that I was having,
Mm-hmm.
showcases in, which was
Yeah.
also a huge deal. I loved, having groups of new people, fun people
Yeah. Can you
sharing.
remind me where that was?
It was in Delano.
Yep.
It was across from the government building. At the time, we called it the 221.
Okay.
Um, and the government has now bought the building, so now it's a part of their government building that was across the street is now housing some activity in that building as well because they needed the space. So
I always
they
love Delano. Yeah.
said, "Yeah, I do too. I
Yeah.
grew up there, so
Yeah.
I have a fondness for the place."
You get to play the Three Crows when that was still a thing.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
yes,
That
for
was a good
sure.
spot.
And that was some of the Three Crows is definitely like that's some of the roots community that I think flocked over to the Reader Barn once the
Yeah.
Reader Barn started.
Yeah. Yes. But they had music maybe more frequently than the reader can have it.
Oh
So
yes,
yeah, I felt right.
yes,
Very
yeah,
cool.
and very very it wasn't a very big,
No,
not a very
I
big
only played
venue.
once, but I just remember how special it felt. Yeah.
It was super cool. Yeah, yeah, I did that a few times. So tell me, I feel like I'm talking all the time here now.
Oh no,
No,
I
so
figured we
so
were having a conversation,
we
right?
are, we are, but I want to hear. I have so many questions, and I want to hear more about your stuff. And so, what is like repeating numbers, and what is that? What significance does that hold for you?
Oh, I don't know why.
You just like it.
I just find it so I do morning pages I start my day every day with morning pages from I don't know if anyone is familiar with Julia Cameron's The Artist Way. I mean a lot of people are, but if you are. And so one of the first things I do every day is I write down the date. And I just I remember this when I used to write checks too. Like I would just always remember checks. And I would just always find it so delightful when you're like, oh my gosh, if you add it's 12, 12, 24, like it's a math price. 12 plus 12 equals 24. Like I just find that stuff charming. So that's really where it started. Yeah.
The Artist Way. I love that. Have you read anything recently in that vein that's moved your needle in any
Oh
way,
yeah.
shape, or form?
I mean, I read in that space a lot. I would say, um, I mean, in the last decade, some of the biggest ones for me would be Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert. The Practice by Seth Godin is one that
Uh,
I buy copies of that and I give it out to people like all the time. And that's less songwritery than, just kind of like general dedication to whatever your thing is. And I'm reading Dear Writer by Maggie Smith right now. She's a poet.
okay, that one.
Um, I read a lot of Substacks from artists, from people in that space as well. I'm a big fan of Austin Kleon. He's one of my favorite uh, people who write about, about creativity, staying creative, and ways into your art and ways to keep believing. Yeah, I mean, I read The Creative Act by Rick Rubin, and that one kind of bothered me.
I, I, I honestly, on the subject of Rick Rubin, I have
Yeah.
to say that like I loved the albums that he did,
Oh
and
yeah.
like I feel like the more I've dug into him, the more I don't understand how they happened. I, I'm not trying to I'm not
Yeah.
trying to belittle his magic because obviously I've been a huge consumer and enjoyer of the
Yeah.
magic, but I I don't understand it. And you know,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I read Bird by Bird in the last probably 8 years, and that's been around for a long time, just like The Artist Way. I mean, some of
yeah,
those really good ones, they're just evergreen.
yes.
Um, so
You
yeah.
gave me a
I
couple new ones that I haven't
Yeah.
heard of or read from
Oh, good.
before, so I
Which
wrote
one's your
them
favorite?
I wrote them down. My new
Okay.
favorite is uh is Living an Artist Centered Life by
Oh.
Elaine Ryan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'll write that one down. I'll
Or
need to
is it
see.
Music Centered Life? Okay, hold on. Now I have to pull up the photo because I forget. I'm
Yeah.
obviously really bad at names and titles. I apologize. I
No need
can't
to be good
believe
at
I
it.
got that wrong earlier today. Not my best work. Um, where is that? I'm looking. The other one is right here, right?
Ooh, get repped in sync. Tell me, has that been useful?
Yes, it should be, it should be given out as uh, okay, that's fine.
I like
It
how blunt the title is.
yeah, it is exactly
Here
what
it
it
is.
is.
This is
It
what it is.
it is exactly what it says it is. It's basically um a handbook for people who are thinking about getting into that realm or side of music, that's written by uh, two artists who are now sync agents
Sure.
who have a company called Two Indie, and those two wrote the book, and it's about kind of their journey as
Yeah.
far as how they landed where they are. And yeah, Living a Music Centered Life by Elaine Ryan. It's
I feel like I do live a music centered life. Do you live a music centered life?
I
I feel
I
like I do.
I do.
Yeah.
I really do. I was gonna ask you, if you don't mind, my asking, do you do a day job?
This is it. I mean, this. I mean, I. People ask it, and I'm like, well, I don't. I mean, I work. You know, in the various forms of music, like the booking of it, the practicing for the shows, the set listing for the show, the organizing the charts for the bands, and getting to the shows. I'm sure that I'm doing things 60 hours a week, like, or the social media like stuff. I mean, I have a Patreon that gets like a weekly letter, and then there's a monthly letter for an email list, and yeah, it's easily 60 hours a week, and so there would be no. That's it.
Yeah,
I do perform a lot too.
yeah,
I sing shows where they're like shows, hey, come to my shows, but I also do singing, like I sing at a church and I sing at the airport. I do things like
yeah.
that where I'm making music. And I've started to step into production a bit as well. So
Yes.
producing other artists' work, which is really exciting. And also, what's coming up for me a lot in 2026 is working with organizations or artist spaces on retreats. I'm like hosting retreats to help other artists bring their work out. So, yeah,
Yes.
I mean, it's one of those things where it's like the job is everything, and yeah, yeah. So that's that.
I
And then of
love
course I
that.
got a family that needs to be fed and a house and all those things too. But
Another full-time job on top of your full-time
yeah,
job.
right. As I think most people do. But yeah, but yes, no traditional day job.
Yeah.
No
Well,
non-music income in my life.
yeah, yeah. And you've been doing that for a while.
Mhm.
That
Yeah. I haven't. My son is 16, and the first year he was around, I worked retail, and that was it. And that was like the last time that it was like a non-music
right,
job, because then it
right
was like
on.
full-time motherhood, and then I just never went back to any other kind of thing.
Right on, right on. Yeah.
So
That's wonderful. I mean, there's a lot of ways you can ride this journey or
yeah,
take this path, but I feel like for those who this is really a thing and this is why you choose the path, like
yeah,
why jump too far off from the things that bring you joy, which is music, right?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm very fortunate. I'm married to someone who's has a more traditional job, so that helps with things like a house. Like I'm not
Bills.
pretending to be making. I'm not repped for sync. Like it's not like that kind of thing. But yeah, I would say in the last few years, there's probably been four different periods where I was like, I just want to go work in a restaurant. I just want to go work in a restaurant. Not because I didn't want to make music ever, but because there are lots of things that we do as part of this job that aren't actual music making and can be very soul crushing. you know.
uh
So
yeah.
and
Yeah.
also soul enlivening. It just depends on the time. So there have been eras where I've been like, oh my gosh, is there a restaurant I could just work at? And then that feeling will subside a little bit. So
Sure. I
we'll see.
feel I feel like there's been a couple of times when I've been my knocked off my trajectory, and the
Okay.
last time I got a factory job
Ah,
where I made playgrounds
what neat.
at in Delano, actually.
Yeah.
They make playground equipment at this one
Cool.
factory and ship it out all over the world.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was my job for a period of time. That was the last um day gig I had, but even before that been I'd been doing before that I'd been doing five different projects, musical projects, and
Yeah.
been playing in various different projects
Yeah.
in order to make enough money and teaching, because I was teaching at one time. School of Rock here in Minnesota
Yeah.
had Eden Prairie, Burnsville, St. Paul, and I might be missing one other location. I think there were four.
Okay.
and I don't think there's more than two now.
Gotcha.
Um, I think there's only Eden Prairie and St. Paul now. Um, but before that happened, I jumped ship on teaching. But at one time, I was teaching during the day and in five different projects.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's
you know,
definitely, you're putting pieces together all the time. And, speaking of books that have mattered, Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert, just one of the biggest reads. I just can't, I recommend that so highly to everybody.
yeah,
But she talks in there about not putting the burden of your livelihood on your art,
yeah.
and I do think if you can, I think there's something to that because if like I don't really have other marketable skills, Mark, so I don't know that I could make an income somewhere else. But and yeah, and truly singing just makes me happier than anything, and writing songs, those
You're
things
really
bring
good
me to
at it
life, and
too.
that works. But I think there's something to the freedom of like I go in and I make money somewhere, and then when I get to return to the thing that I love, there's like a preciousness and like oh my gosh, I'm reunited with you, and I've been waiting to get to you. And actually that's in The Artist's Way too. She kind of talks about like having an affair with your work, like
Yeah,
making your writing being something that you like. I'm gonna go sneak off and do this. I'm so excited. Like I can't wait to get with my guitar and my blank page and write a song. So
I'm totally down with that. The thing I love about Elaine Ryan's book is it actually has a financial section in it
yeah,
because I mean, one way or another, you have to pay your bills, and so whether or not you're living your music centered life with another source of income somewhere else,
yeah,
it's a way to figure things out. And also the other thing I love about the book is it gives um it was validating for me to read somebody else say that if you can make a living doing music, that is something. I mean, like, if you can sustain yourself by just doing music, that in itself is a goal. Like,
yeah,
I never before have I ever read this in a book. I mean, I'd felt that. I didn't care what anybody else that I didn't have a real get a real job. I mean, like, that was just the thing. Like, why don't you just get a real job? Because I don't I and to quote the lovely Sarah Morris, I'm not really to have any other marketable
right.
skills.
Nope, nope. This is what we
This is pretty much all I'm really all that good at. And, depending on who you ask, because of course music is very subjective, but, but like, you know, I mean, I, I had a hard time, even when I went back to the factory, I had a hard time with a clock in and a boss
yeah.
and that sort of structure. Uh, It's
That makes
totally
sense.
different when you're working for yourself. It's like you're the business owner, and then you can understand why you're working so hard at this because
Yep.
you know
Well,
it's
having your
there's a
why in
purpose.
place. Yep. I mean, there's like Simon Sinek has the book Start with Why, but it's that idea, and I come back to this a lot. Where it's like with and I think we haven't really talked actually about songwriting much, but I think starting with
We'll
why
get there.
and having a firm why in place is something that I aim for in lots of ways. Like when I'm at the song, like why am I writing this song? What like if things get murky, like knowing well here's my why. My why is sometimes my why is because I want to finish a song. Sometimes but sometimes it is because I want to say this thing or when I'm putting on a show and if I start to get like, oh gosh, no one's gonna come to the show. What am I doing? Like start with why. What's my why? Well, I'm having the show because I want to connect with people. So it doesn't matter if a ton of people show up. It doesn't. It matters that whoever shows up, that I connect with that person. Or why am I making dinner tonight? Because I want my why is, I want to spend a couple moments with my family and I want them to be nourished. But the idea of having a why in place, and when you're your own boss versus like when you're going to the factory, like you get to be in charge of the why and you get to carry that why all the way through. But when you're showing up at the factory, it's kind of harder sometimes to have the investment in the why. Unless you can see the pictures of those cute kids who are going to play on that playground one day.
Yeah. And that sometimes would help, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. No, that's cool. I totally appreciate that. And maybe we should talk about songwriting. I'm totally interested in that too. So tell
Well,
me.
we can talk about whatever you want. For some reason, I thought that's what this was about.
It is, but it's also
Oh,
about like
okay.
having it is, but it's also about having a conversation and like
Yeah,
I never wanted to have to be so structured that we
yeah.
couldn't get like magic moments like the ones that we're having.
Let's do
You
it.
know,
I mean, we
you
can
know,
go wherever.
that's
I
so wonderful. I'm just enjoying the conversation. So
Me too.
I first found out about here's some history. I first found out about you through my friend Brian Kuntz,
Oh, Brian.
who and he was like, you gotta see Sarah Moore, and this is when you were in the home fires, doing that,
Yeah.
and like you gotta see her. She's and and I did. I had to, and I did, and I was like, oh my God, Brian, she's really awesome. Like
Oh,
just the way and I super enjoyed Say Yes.
thank you.
I and it's you. It's all you. Like uh there's so many great there's so many great takeaways from my 45 minute binge.
Yes, thank
Um
you.
you know, I love I love the way you soar into moments with your voice. You set things up so nicely. It's like it. I, I was just really admiring your vocal technique for um for my binge session
Thank
and
you, Mark. I
uh,
appreciate that. Also, if you see Brian, I haven't seen him in forever. Tell him that
yeah, I definitely will. I also haven't. We haven't only connected, but
okay.
like this. Although we haven't
Right.
even done this, we haven't even done the Zoom, so it's mostly like Facebook stuff, and I'm hardly ever on Facebook
I
anymore
know.
because I
All
do
of us.
this
Right.
more than not. And yeah, I totally will because I'm super thankful. And then we ended up being in the same organization, and you did the a little songwriting workshop for at the Medina, wasn't it at the Medina?
Oh yeah, I was on a panel with Jeff Dayton and who else was there? It was at the Medina.
Yeah,
It was part of the MCMO. Yeah,
yeah.
it was
Well,
really good.
MCMA then, but
That's
MCMO
true. That's
rebranded.
right. But
It's
I've
all
now
good.
been. I've now learned. I've had the new name, and branded into my head. So we're good.
No, that's wonderful. So, how did you've got a lot of great songs on there, and obviously a lot of great collaborations. That those all were all those all things that happened because they were some co-write situations, or did they happen because you were putting together this album, figuring out what songs that you were going to have on the album, and you thought to yourself, I really want to do these things with these people. Tell me more about it.
Oh sure. So the album is just my bandmates. There
Okay.
aren't any special guests on there. I don't think. I'm gonna look at it right now. We made it. Oh, the only special guest is Tom. Um, so there's one co-write on
Um,
the album, one co-write with Ted Heineshevitz, but the rest are all solo writes. And the dream with the album was, so I had a band for years comprised of four people, and in COVID times, two of those people moved to other countries.
Yeah.
Thomas Nordland and Andrew Foreman, and I miss them terribly. But as like in their moving, I started to work with these other people, Dave Mailing, and Dave Mailing had produced. He like I started working with Dave as a producer. He produced our 2023 album, Here's to You, and then he just kept playing with us. And then Nick Salisbury stepped in to play bass. And so in 2024, have you been to the White Squirrel, Mark, in
I
St.
have
Paul?
not been to the White
Yeah.
Squirrel.
I just think it's the most fantastic like new venue that we've gotten in the cities in a few years. It's such a wonderful place, and I have held down the fourth Wednesday of every month there for the last 2 years. And in
Nice.
2024, we treated it as a band residency, so it was me and Dave and Lars Eric Larson, who's been drumming with me since 2014, and then Nick Salisbury on bass, and then most of the time we would get Haley Rydell on violin. And so we spent this year kind of like gelling in this way that I really wanted to see what it would feel like if we went to a studio. So we went to Pachyderm in Cannon Falls
Yes.
in January, the like second week of January last year,
Yeah.
and brought Holly Hansen down to engineer
Yeah.
because Holly's fantastic. And so the dream with the album was it was going to be this like just the six of us in this space. And that's really what it was. We got as much as possible live in those 4 days. I recorded all my lead vocals except for one while we were there. We got some guest harmonies from Holly. We got like all the bass, all the drums, most of the piano, things like that. And then once we were working on like edits after the fact, there were a couple spots where I could hear other guitars. And around that time, Thomas Northland, who'd played guitar with us for a really long time and lives in Mexico, he was like, "Oh, I'm coming to town for a few days in April." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, any chance you have like 4 hours and can come into the studio?" And so that was how we got that guest star. But otherwise, it was just the band being the band.
That is wonderful. I love that.
Yeah.
So tell me about your walk into production. I don't want this to end, but it's gonna end and like
Right. I know that happens with Zoom.
I
Thanks, Zoom.
hate that. I don't want it to happen. I but before it cuts us off, or
Yep.
tell me about your walk into production.
Yes, and it's a slow little sidewalk, I think. So are you familiar with Doyle Turner? He's a Midwest CMO
I do.
member, an
I do.
amazing human being. And in 2024, he asked me to produce his record paper, which became Paper Maps. And I
Nice.
was really blown away, and that he would ask me, and kind of like looked over my shoulder to make sure he didn't think he was asking someone else. But it was really fun. One of the things that I love the most is just helping other people remember that they should be making their art. And so this was a very specific way to get to do that, but also to it was an honor to listen to his songs and think like, okay, well, what if it was this, and can I ask you some some questions and see where it goes. And so we had a really great time, and I'm so proud of the way the album turned out. I mean, which is just because he's fantastic and the musicians on the album were fantastic. um, and I can't really turn any knobs or do any of that stuff, like, so it's really just that I'm listening, holding the cohesion of the album in place. And it's been great. And I've got a couple projects coming up in 2026 that are in that realm as well. So I look forward to gently walking in that direction some more.
That is so cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
I'll have to. I don't know that I've listened to that. I know I've listened to some songs. I don't know that I've listened to that entire album. I'm gonna have to
Oh
do that
yeah.
now.
Oh, I mean, I'm a fan of albums, and Paper Maps is very much to me an album, right? Like the song sequence really tells a story, and um, so while each song individually is fantastic and hence like is great for singles, but I think it's a really beautiful album.
Very
So
cool.
yeah,
All right.
yeah.
Wonderful. I am going to check that out. I can't wait.
Yeah.
Yeah. I I've ventured into a little bit of production space myself at these days. Well, over COVID, it kind of got more serious,
Yeah.
and I'm just finishing up my certification through uh, Master. It's a through an organization called Mastering.com.
Oh,
Uh,
cool.
they're a established online institution and
Yeah.
stuff. So yeah, I am a knob turner.
That's
And
good.
what I found was that I like it.
Yeah.
Like all of the things that I didn't like about being captured on this medium, I suddenly found that, who would have thought that I love the control of being able to manipulate it myself. Not that I'm a control freak or anything, but I don't know. I think all artists, when you have that vision or that sonic scape in your head, and you want it to be fully realized, right?
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
yeah. So I that's totally cool. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that you're walking that way. There
Yeah.
needs to be there needs to be more female producers.
Well, for sure, that's, and I think I come at music in general from like my knowledge base is in vocals and in songs, right? So I'm
Yeah,
not like a Dave Cobb who I can play all the instruments or anything, but I
right.
am someone who I'm really confident that if we were in the studio and you were in the vocal booth, that I could help lead you to like your best performance. Like that's something that
Yeah,
I have a big love for that. And also, if people ever want to talk about like how could this song, tell the story I'm trying to tell with a little bit more clarity or punch, like I could get very nerdy about song. I've taken a couple song schools and I've helped, lead some retreats, and I find that stuff endlessly fascinating. So I think if people who have wanted to work with me, like they're looking for support in those, or an album that's going to highlight like vocals and songs, like that would, yeah,
yeah, I totally get that. I and let's face it, when you have any vocal song, the vocals is the star of the show.
yeah,
So it shouldn't be thought of, well, late.
right.
you know,
Oh yeah, we're gonna have a singer there. Yeah,
it's gonna cut us off. We
it
got
is.
less than a
Mark,
minute.
thank you so much for having me. This is
Thank you
fun.
so much for doing this. It went like that. I can't.
I
We didn't
know
we just start this?
we kind of did.
And it's been. I can't believe it's been 40 minutes already.
No, we'll have to do it again if you keep
Yeah,
this going or
for sure,
some
for
other
sh-
way. It'd be great
for
to.
sure, for sure. I, I'm open. I'm sure that you can get my best vocal performance I've